after that, there were a lot of projects that started and they were initiated, like Iran-Pakistan pipeline, and then later on Iran-Pakistan and India pipeline. That was something really good if it would have happened. But then I won't be shying away from saying that the United States intervened and asked Pakistan that if they are going to have this pipeline project towards completion, then there will be sanctions met by Pakistan as well, just like Iran. Turkey is like, we have this cozy relationship with each other, and I think this is the only country which has always been there for Pakistan whenever Pakistan was in need of. And then the military and the defense relationship that we have, they are very, very strong. Even the drones technology that Turkey is transferring to Pakistan is an immense kind of development in their defense ties towards each other. Afghanistan, in this new bloc that we are all dreaming and fancily talking about, Afghanistan always remain an important country for us, but their relationship always remain a bone of contention sometimes, based on the terrorist elements that have always played a very bad role, a bad character to bring the two countries closer towards one another.
Watch Federal Post. Bold and independent.
Assalamu alaikum. This is Hasan Zafar with Talking Politics. We have Dr. Farah Naz with us. Thank you very much, madam, for joining. Last time we discussed, last week, uh, Pakistan's possible recognition of Taliban government, but let's move a step forward from there. The possibility of a Eurasian bloc, and the world is already talking about it. We know the Indians are talking about the close relationship between Turkey and Pakistan. They call it Turkey, we call it Turkey anyway. Uh, and the Eurasian bloc is a Russian dream. They've always wanted to have an influence in this region, which was previously part of the Soviet Union. Uh, Perhaps that's why they were the first to recognize the Taliban government, and they wanted to have some presence here already. Uh, let's discuss it further. Is this a possibility, or is this just a very nice dream? Turkey, Iran, Pakistan, Afghanistan coming together, forming a bloc, China standing behind it.
Yeah, like for me, it's a good dream to have, but the possibility seems to be quite difficult. And why I say it, because there is like history is right in front of us. And it shows that whenever these countries have tried to be closer to each other, there is always a problem that comes up, and it kind of affects their relationship towards each other. They always remain friendly towards one another, but like the ultimate goal that they set for themselves or each other, that is never met. And Cento is in front of us when they united for a purpose, but the purpose was not achieved, and then they disintegrated. Then after that, there were a lot of projects that started and they were initiated, like Iran Pakistan pipeline, and then later on Iran Pakistan and India pipeline. That was something really good if it would have happened. But then I won't be shying away from saying that the United States intervened and asked Pakistan that if they are going to have this pipeline project towards completion, then there will be sanctions met by Pakistan as well, just like Iran. Iran was upset with that because they spent a lot of dollars on constructing their side of the project, but Pakistani side of the project never was materialized. That kind of led to us, a problematic relationship between the two as well. But the story never ends here. If we talk about several other projects, yes, things have never ever materialized. When you said Turkey and Turkey, yeah, so all habits never change overnight. So we'll be taking a lot of time to build on to say Turkey to Turkey. So Turkey is like, we have this cozy relationship with each other, and I think this is the only country which has always been there for Pakistan whenever Pakistan was in need of. And then the military and the defense relationship that we have, they are very, very strong. Even the drones technology that Turkey is transferring to Pakistan is an immense kind of development in their defense ties towards each other. Along with that, the recent visit of the Turkey delegation, the foreign minister to Pakistan, and then they had a comprehensive dialogue with the Pakistani sides, their counterparts. That was a huge success. So there is a lot of potential. But if I take the third party here, Afghanistan, in this new bloc that we are all dreaming and fancily talking about, Afghanistan always remain an important country for us, but their relationship always remain a bone of contention sometimes, based on the terrorist elements that have always played a very bad role, a bad character to bring the two countries closer towards one another. They are one and the same, but terrorism is like, a monster in between the two of them. So how this bloc can emerge where there are lots of historical, incidents, trajectories, tragedies, which kind of stop them to establish some kind of relationship that can be fruitful in the times to come. And another problem that I can see here is maybe the other bloc will not be very happy with this development coming into fruition. So they will also be creating further problems for these countries and then trying to stop them one way or the other. If they are not able to have a dialogue with Iran, they will be putting pressure on Pakistan not to engage with Iran, not to engage with them on all those fronts that could be hostile towards them in times to come. So this bloc could be a good way to begin with, but materializing it will take very long time. And I see a lot of problems coming the way of Turkey and Pakistan in terms of how they're going to lead it. Because Afghanistan is also going through a lot of sanctions, a lot of problems. They also are not yet recognized by many states. They want their recognition to be put in place. And Iran is we are all aware of is also facing lots of problems and difficulties due to the Israel and Iran conflict. So there is a lot of stuff that is there, but the potential between like how these countries can group together, I think I can see more trouble here rather than coming towards some kind of concrete, positivity.
Well, I would like to understand the kind of troubles you have in mind regarding the formation of this bloc. Uh, uh, Very recently, a couple of days ago, the Irani ambassador in Islamabad, he came on a Pakistani television and he expressed this desire of forming a bloc initially, including Turkey, Iran, and Pakistan. So the desire
Um,
is there on both sides.
Yeah, the desire is there, and then based on Pakistan-Iran relationship, they have very good and friendly relationship with one another. Pakistan never was afraid of condemning Israel's attack on Iran, and Pakistan always stood by Iran rather than being, supporting Israel's stance. That was expected from Pakistan. But Pakistan said no. Pakistan always stood by its neighbor, its brother, that is Iran. Now, speaking of this creation and establishing or setting up of this block, yeah, I still say, this intention is very solid, it's very genuine, it's real. They want to establish a block so they can counter the established block of the world, of the global politics in time. So,
But
how,
the impediments that you have in mind,
yes,
yes,
so
what will
the impact.
stop it from, yes.
So the impediments to me are the established bloc, that is the Western bloc. They will never ever let it happen, and there has been a longer history. Whenever there is an emergence of another bloc, they have always stopped them from emerging because politics is a game of interest, and they will do anything which is not in their interest to stop them, to create problems for them, to put sanctions on. And Pakistan probably cannot afford such kind of pressures because Pakistan has its own bucket full of problems.
Yeah, that's true. That's absolutely true. And we have seen President Trump making it very, very clear to the BRICS members, uh, seeing them as an anti American alliance or an anti American body of countries who want to challenge the supremacy of American financial system and damage the status of dollar. So that is how it's being looked at, and of course, he's not very happy about it. And certainly, any other bloc or any other alliance taking shape will also be looked at with quite a lot of disfavor from uh, America and Western allies.
And
So
it's your gentleman. I
this
believe,
is a
Dr.
given
Zafar,
thing. It's a given thing that it will happen. But then the question is, when we look back as uh, thinking of a post 9/11 scenario, uh, the way NATO and United States was standing tall and strong at that time. Is that the is that the same situation 25 years down the lane?
well, you were saying that when they were stronger back in time, are they weaker now? No, I completely disagree with you on that. America is still the superpower. NATO is still stronger. Like the way America attacked Iran and their nuclear facilities, that was so strong. And probably I was not expecting that maybe under President Trump, America will never take this measure or this step. But they did it because they know how to play their cards. They are the sole superpower of the world of today's global politics. So they will be doing anything that is against their national interest or their global interest. So for them, maintaining their status quo is very important. And they have to keep it that way. Anyone who wants to stand against them, they will create a havoc in their life. And this is, I'm saying it based on what I have seen in the past. It's not
But they
something that,
haven't been able to play that kind of havoc with the Russians, despite all the uh, uh, or, what do you call it? I'm just skipping it.
yeah, I
Or
would just pick it up from there. Like they tried to isolate Russia and they tried to corner them by all ways and
yes,
means.
the sanctions. Despite all the sanctions they imposed on Russia, everything they did, nothing could deter Russia from doing what Russia wanted to do. So that is how it is. It's not the same as before.
But
Their their
here we are not talking.
hegemony is not absolute.
But Dr. Zafar, when you pick the top 10 economies of the world, Russia fall on within the 10 range, right? So Russia
Mhm.
is not, like in comparison to its GDP, comparison to the numbers Russia is holding, if we compare all these countries who are trying to stand against, not against, but to create a bloc, this is questionable. You need to be
Hmm.
very strong. You need to have a strong leadership. You need to have a very strong determination. President Putin is a very strong man. He knows when, where, and how to play his cards. The way he kind of, the Western Bloc tried to isolate Russia from by all ways and means, but under President Putin's leadership, he did something amazing that instead that the ruble goes down against dollar, the ruble went up. Nobody was expecting that this will happen to Russia. But Russia stood on its feet through its own strategic approach. That was its policies. If we compare that to Afghanistan, if we compare that to Iran, if we compare that to Pakistan or Turkey, do you think we can challenge all of those? No. If there is a bit of pressure, we all will be shaking big time. So we can't take those pressures. Yes, Iran is also playing very strong in that they are fighting with Israel, which is again a very powerful country, right? But what potential they have to fight them to the very last or to the very end, that's a bit debatable. So I can see that Russia was much more in terms of its numbers, if in terms of its military might, strength, and all of that, much more stronger as compared to all these countries who are trying to be together. But the influence of Western Bloc on all these countries have always been very stronger. If it's Turkey, if it is Pakistan, if it is Afghanistan, Iran is a different story. So why will they be picking fight with the Western Bloc for Iran?
No, I partially agree with you, not totally on this. Let's
I love
put.
love
Uh,
disagreement. So let's take the disagreement part.
yes, no, I think this is a good disagreement because it takes the debate forward. Let's bring China into the picture. In this so-called alliance of four countries, Pakistan, Afghanistan, Iran, Turkey, and China appears in the picture. How does it look to you now?
Yeah, but like you need to look into the pattern of China approach to such kind of blocks. If you compare that to BRICS, it's a different story because China believe in economic development, business, partnership, prosperity, and all of that, like the fancy kind of terminologies, diplomacy. Uh, but can China stand against the established blocs of today? That China will take a bit more time on that, because to be a very strongly powerful country among the powerful nations or countries, you need to have certain contours of power. So China is very strong in terms of its technology, its military might, the numbers that China is holding, but China still is like not up there to that level where it can beat its rival, that is the United States of America. So China will, I believe, will never pick any issue that can bring any problem towards China. China will always try to be a silent player rather than a prominent player. This is my personal opinion. You have all the rights to disagree with me, but this is I have seen.
I think we also need to have some clarity on the concept of this bloc. Is this going to be a military alliance or a regional economic cooperation kind of thing, where there is easier movement across the borders of these countries, in terms of trade routes, in terms of economic cooperation? You mentioned Iran Pakistan gas pipeline, which couldn't be completed because of the American pressure. We also know the Tapi gas pipeline, Turkmenistan, Afghanistan, Pakistan, India was also part of it, but they opted out of it. Even that has remained uh, unfinished. It never even started. So many projects, economic cooperation projects, could not even take off because of the American pressure. That's the history, and that's what we know for reality. But is the reality changing? That is what we are trying to understand now.
Yeah, to me, whether it's going to be a military partnership or an economic trade partnership, all what I can see from this is military partnership. If it was only Turkey and Pakistan, I would say yes, 100%. Um, Iran and Afghanistan, I would say no. Um, Iran to certain extent, but of course there will be pressure in Pakistan for providing some kind of military technology aid or whatever. So probably that Pakistan has to face pressure or sanctions. So maybe Pakistan is not prepared for this. Let's be very practical. So then what is it all about? What is this fuss about? Why they want to be together? To me, it's more about trade routes. To me, it's more about accessibility. It's more about that we can see today in every, like if it's about the sea routes, there's everywhere in the choke point, there is, like a group of all these powerful countries who have stationed their bases and their troops are sitting over there. So anytime anything can happen. And then it's not about the Western group, the Western Bloc, which is having its basis on all those choke points. It's about all other countries as well. Like we have seen it when during the Iran-Israel war, when they said that we're going to stop the Strait of Hormuz, the problem was suddenly de-escalated as well. So we know where the problem lies. So from this arrangement, it's more about extension. Maybe I'm wrong, but to me, it's more about an extension of the BRI, extending their territory beyond to certain other countries as well, through which they have better accessibility, better communication, better trade routes, better economic prosperity. So it's more about generating resources, utilizing their energy potential, because there's a lot of energy potential in all these countries as well. So they are trying to
Hmm.
have that. Turkey, yes, giving an access to the European market as well. So it's like connecting the entire, region together and connecting this region to the European market as well.
Yeah, and it also looks like a very attractive proposition for the Russians, because they have a lot of hostility in Europe against them, and it looks quite unlikely that they are going to have any kind of normal relations with the Western Europe in any foreseeable future. So it's understandable. It's quite plausible that they will be looking backward towards Central Asia and the Middle East. So
And
their interest also
if
appears to be increasing in this region. Yes.
Yeah, they probably are looking up to connecting this region through Afghanistan, because this is what they have been doing when the sanctions were imposed on them during, and like still is going on during the war. So they want to bank more on their relationship with their countries who they already have recognized the Taliban government. So they want to get more accessibility. So as I said, to me, it's more about connecting the land territory so they can bypass all those choke points where all their counterparties are sitting over there, and they can have free trade maybe in times to come, as like we have been hearing about local currencies like the BRICS is proposing, and then other, probably if such kind of blocks are kept emerging, they will all go for a free currency with through which they can have their trade in their local currencies, right? So these kind of arrangements, do you think the established bloc will let it happen? Because this is challenging dollar, and they will never ever want dollar to go down.
So what we can underline here is the control over financial world financial system and the ability of the United States to stop or allow transactions amongst nations. So that is the real power they have, and that is the kind of power that is being challenged through BRICS and other alliances, if you like to say. How quickly can that happen? Because these countries, all these countries, I think the time is arriving fast when they will be wary of this control over the financial system, the American control over the financial system.
Yeah, there is who can challenge the American control and who can, affect the American control. It's only China that I can see in times to come, but not now. This is not the right time for China to declare itself like an open rival. Of course, America
Hmm.
knows who is rival. America knows who they are threatened with, and they are preparing on the same lines. They are watching each other's very carefully. But unless and until China come out openly that yes, let's fight now, till then, such kind of blocks, it will be just on the paper. It will be like another TAPI, it will be another IPI, which will be there. Somebody will be talking about, and then they will go down the drain. So these things will never happen unless and until China comes out and say, yes, let's prepare a block now. I am there openly standing with you. Let's do it. They started the BRICS. BRICS has the potential. BRICS is offering a lot of, support to the countries who are members to it, and even the regional connectivity and all of that. But still, like, there's a lot of problems on the way of BRICS. There are countries like India sitting in BRICS as well, which is going to
Yeah, well,
create
that's a
problems.
black sheep with letter I in BRICS.
So India is going to create a lot of problem in terms of, taking any decision regarding their policies, their measures that they want to take for the BRICS. Same will be the problem here. First thing here, the sheep is not entered. But if they think that this is going to materialize, the sheep will enter even here. You can't stop it, because if there is an intention given from somewhere, a signal is provided, we have to let them come. So this problem, and then within this arrangement, I speculate that maybe it's not going to happen, and it will be there for a few months
What's
or
the
maybe.
time frame you have in mind when you say it's not going to happen anytime soon? So, what? How do you define soon? 5 years?
5 years is a very long time. It will be there for a year or so, and then it will go down. And it will be on the papers. We all will be holding and maybe teaching university kids that, oh, there was something that was discussed back in that time of the history, but then it never materialized, as we're talking about TAPI and IPI.
Yeah.
So
So,
again, quote,
yeah.
unless China come out and openly, say that, oh, let's fight it now. So China
Yeah,
is not going to.
we had a glimpse of it 4 or 5 days ago, and the Red Sea when a Chinese ship fired uh, laser at a German aircraft that was patrolling there.
They're not
So
doing. They're not
they
doing.
have started
South
to
China.
show
Yeah,
their
South.
muscles.
Yeah, South China Sea is always like, a bone of contention kind of issue for all these regional countries, particularly China. But China is not only doing it there, China is trying in the waters of the Pacific all the way. And they try to, enter some of the waters of Australia, not like crossing the border of the water, but yes,
No,
they were.
this happened in the Red Sea, far
Yeah,
from the
but they are.
Chinese.
I'm saying that China is trying it like all over, but it's still like timid. It's still like not very strongly coming out. This is what I'm saying. That China is trying, but to show your teeth to your enemy, you have to have that kind of starch in you. China has the potential, China has the capability, but it is yet not there. So unless and until China reaches to that point where it can show its teeth to its enemy, then we can talk about such blocks emerging who can counter the existing blocks. For now, the established blocks will be there, and they will be putting havoc in the life of all those who want to stand against them. Because I'm a realist and I believe in interest. So whatever is against their interest, they will do anything.
Thank you very much, Dr. Farah. It was very interesting to discuss this thing with you. But I think this discussion has to be taken forward because there are other aspects that also need to be considered. How long can China wait for this to happen? Because as their trade interests are expanding everywhere through the BRI projects, how long can they really afford to allow these trade routes to be on their own, to be vulnerable, to be open to attacks, and to be open to any kind of disruption. So one day they will have to come out. They cannot just sit back and watch whatever happens to the goods they send out through the sea routes and through land
I think
routes. So,
I think China is all on the way towards it, but still, as I said, they are yet not there. They are taking their sweet time. They are based on like their previous historical sanctions that they have faced with Taiwan. So they are a bit, careful. They know what will be the consequences. So they want to reach to their peak and then they're going to declare it. So this time probably China knows how to play it out rather than put itself and face the consequences of its being there to counter its rival. China is playing smartly, and this is their strategic approach. So we can talk
let's
about it
do.
in other. Yeah.
Of course, we'll talk about it next week. Let's do some more thinking on this and let's see how things go during the week because things are changing very, very fast. We'll have maybe something more interesting to talk about. Thank you very much for your time today. And thank you very much for watching. Khuda Hafiz, Pakistan Zindabad.